things just got a whole load worse for Meghan Markle because her sister Samantha ain't going anywhere.
The stories would come out. So apparently, according to other journalists, we found out that there were a lot of porcupines probably told to the royals and even to Harry when they met her, and in order to cover up.
Many people doubt Meghan has long been a mother. Following her attendance at Northwestern University, Meghan began dating Joe Giuliano, and the couple got married after having a child when Meghan was almost 20.
I wrote to the state of California birth records office. I wrote to them and I said, I don't have documentation. All I have is this data. They conducted a search with finding if a Rachel Meghan Markle had given birth in the state of California, if she has any other children. You'll be surprised to see what they gave me.
They can't find the child, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, but they did tell me that a Miss Rachel Meghan Markle gave birth to a child in 1997. They can't disclose the details because those were sealed. And look at the date these documents were sealed.
So all of these lies started coming out, but we didn't know that she had told the royal family so many porcupines.
According to reports, Noelle was born in or around 1999, which fits the timeline perfectly.
You know, I think as she told it, she approached me.
Given her appearance, Noelle does share some similarities with Joe and Meghan, and she's even more like Meghan.
So it makes sense. Oh my God, I've got to keep everybody away because if they start talking, the lies come out.
Classic.
It was a dreadful thing to do and actually completely wrong. He is quite hard and harsh.
Very clear to me at the time that, you know, we were together, I would say. Yeah, she had a very clear idea of where she wanted her path to take.
Wiped out all kind of pictures, communications with Joe. Meghan was researching the prince online and found out that the prince is now duped, so I can now go ahead and marry him. At that stage, Meghan contacted Joe, told him that, look, if you open your mouth, I'm gonna...
How does she see the children's, and she's put the children's in inverted commas, time being split between them, and how does she think their lives will be?
People like Meghan will always stay with the man if there's no better option.
I did a little mark on my board and said, oh, there's another lie.
There have been various rumors and online claims about Meghan's early personal life. However, many of these claims have not been verified by reliable sources. According to publicly documented information, Meghan attended Northwestern University before beginning her professional acting career. When discussing her background, it is important to distinguish between verified facts and unconfirmed speculation.
Meghan Markle is one of the most ruthless social climbers I've ever met in my entire life. And anyone who thinks she wants to get out of the fame element of all this is living in cloud cuckoo.
According to some online reports, a person named Noelle was reportedly born around 1999, though these claims have not been independently verified. Some people have also pointed to perceived physical similarities between Noelle, Joe, and Meghan, but such observations are subjective and do not constitute evidence of any family relationship. Without reliable confirmation, these claims remain speculative.
It is pretty extraordinary, isn't it? I mean, I think she's just got so used to lying that maybe, in my opinion, she believes the lies she tells. I don't know. But either way, she's just been so consistently loose with the truth.
Critics argue that Meghan's public statements and actions have not always appeared consistent, leading some to accuse her of hypocrisy. Whether those criticisms are fair is a matter of opinion, but the perception has become part of the broader public debate surrounding her.
Talk to Andrew Morton, talk to Tom Bauer. All of these people that have written books about her have been like, it's a struggle to get to the truth of who this female was before she meets Prince Harry.
Whenever Meghan speaks about authenticity or encourages people to live their truth, some critics question whether her message aligns with her public image and lifestyle. They argue that the contrast between her words and her circumstances makes the message feel less convincing, leading many to pause and wonder whether the advice reflects the reality they see.
He became hypersensitive and blamed the media for the crashes of his relationship.
Critics argue that Meghan's public image sometimes appears inconsistent with her actions. They point to what they see as contradictions between her statements about privacy, her advocacy work, and her frequent public appearances and interviews. Supporters, however, may view these actions differently. As a result, the debate over whether her public messaging aligns with her actions has remained a recurring topic of discussion.
He's moved on. He has put Meghan behind him. He probably is not interested in people bringing up his past relationship. He has 3 children.
According to her critics, the most surprising part is the perception that these inconsistencies go unnoticed. They argue that her public statements and actions often appear to contradict one another, leading some observers to question the consistency of her messaging over time.
For writing family off because it would seemingly justify and perhaps delay the revelation of all of the lies that she had told the royal family.
For some observers, the situation became so surprising that it almost felt unbelievable. However, the story took another dramatic turn when an unexpected development shifted the conversation in a way that few people had anticipated. According to those following the events, even extensive public relations efforts seemed unable to prevent the growing attention surrounding the issue.
And to be proud and to empower other women when she's out there using her platform. Be proud of who you are. Work hard. You don't have to pretend to be someone else. You don't have to dress like Diana. You don't have to say you got grants and scholarships. Give accolades to those who bring you.
Samantha Markle recently shared comments that quickly attracted public attention and sparked renewed discussion online. Rather than being dismissed as an emotional reaction, some observers viewed her remarks as more deliberate and significant. As a result, speculation grew about whether her statements hinted at information that could influence the ongoing public conversation, although no such claims had been independently verified.
Time, that we were together, it's what kids did, right? So she told her friends she liked me, I told my friends I liked her, and then our friends met, and then they kind of arranged it, and then we became girlfriend and boyfriend.
For years, many people have viewed Meghan's public story as that of a modern Cinderella, a woman who found love, faced challenges within the royal family, and later chose a different path while advocating for causes she believes in. It's a narrative that many supporters find compelling because it presents a clear and straightforward storyline. At the same time, others question whether that portrayal captures the full complexity of the situation, making it an ongoing subject of public debate.
They were empowered at Immaculate Heart by the nuns to be independent women. But wait a minute, who paid for Immaculate Heart? That was all my dad, so let's face it.
But what if it's all fake? What if the whole thing was designed to fool you from day one? Samantha has just suggested that's exactly what happened. And if she's right, it changes everything. Suddenly, everything you thought you knew comes into question, and the entire story takes on a completely different meaning.
I don't think she loved him for a second, but it suited her to stay, and she was the Meghan in the relation.
More recently, some commentators have argued that the public narrative surrounding Meghan has been carefully shaped, suggesting that it emphasizes certain aspects while leaving out others. As a result, some people have begun questioning whether the polished public image reflects the full story. However, these views remain matters of opinion and public debate rather than established fact.
A lot of people are saying, oh, this is from her first boyfriend that was, but it's not him. Apparently it was the cousin. It's pretty shocking, isn't it? One thing is curious. He does mention that she looked pregnant in the article, but he says that's me standing with her, but he doesn't deny it. Her cousin in this article did not flat out deny and say that she wasn't pregnant with my child. He just says she looked pregnant and that's me standing with her. People were saying all kinds of crazy things. Why can't you?
At this stage, there is no publicly verified evidence, such as official documents or recordings, to support these claims. Much of the discussion is based on speculation and public commentary. However, when a close family member publicly questions someone's account of their past, it naturally attracts attention and prompts further discussion, even though such statements should not be treated as established fact without independent verification.
Joshua Silverstein was her very first boyfriend. They were both only 13.
According to reports, Noelle was born in or around 1999, which fits the timeline perfectly. Many people doubt Meghan has long been a mother. Following her attendance at Northwestern University, Meghan began dating Joe Giuliano, and the couple got married after having a child when Meghan was almost 20.
And family members who there is no publicly verified famous publicly such as official documents or recordings to support. It often draws significant public attention. Much of the discussion is based on speculation and such statements raise questions about the accuracy of the public narrative. When a close family member publicly questions someone's disagreements within families are not, it naturally attracts attention, proof that any particular claim is true, even though such these remarks should not be treated as part of an ongoing public without independent rather than as confirmed facts.
This woman is nothing but a publicity whore. It's a term of art. We broke the news that she had Prince Harry on her vision board when she was younger. That was her goal, #goal, to marry Prince Harry. So it was all about getting the title. She's done that now. Now she's just stuck with this depressed ginger who has absolutely no family, no friends, and no money. This was not part of the plan.
At this stage, there is no publicly verified evidence, such as official documents or recordings, to support these claims. Much of the discussion is based on speculation and public commentary. However, when a close family member publicly questions someone's account of their past, it naturally attracts attention and prompts further discussion, even though such statements should not be treated as established fact without independent verification. The speculation quickly spread across social media, with many people trying to understand what the claims might mean. Some commentators suggested that, if any of the allegations were ever substantiated, it could significantly change public perceptions. However, until credible evidence is presented, these discussions remain speculative and should not be treated as established fact.
What we said, everything I said in the beginning was favorable. Nobody printed that. And when I said nothing, they created stories. And it was really and why? It would have been so easy to be honest about who she is.
She's reinvented herself so many times throughout the last 44 years.
This is why many people have revisited a moment from 2019 that received little attention at the time. During an interview, an actress made comments suggesting that Meghan's past may not have been fully represented in the way some people believed. However, she did not provide evidence or further details to support the statement. The remarks later gained attention online, with some viewers interpreting them as significant, while others viewed them as unverified speculation.
Hi, Daddy. I got an English award. And right now we're in Beverly Hills, and we're going to pass the Beverly Hilton Hotel, where I'll be on Sunday meeting the other North.
At the time, the comment received little attention and quickly faded from public discussion. However, as old interviews and clips often resurface online, this particular moment began circulating again and sparked renewed debate. Some people started questioning the meaning behind the actress's remarks and what information may have influenced her statement. Others argued that the comments lacked evidence and should be viewed with caution. The renewed attention shows how past statements can take on new significance when revisited years late.
They want to hide their secrets, and I just love digging away to find out what they don't want us to know.
Because when an old statement resurfaces years later, it naturally makes people wonder whether there were details they overlooked at the time. If a comment that was once ignored gains attention again, it can lead to new questions and renewed discussion about what may have been missed. However, without verified information, those questions remain part of the broader conversation rather than confirmed conclusions.
With either Archie or Lily, and it needs to happen. They need to prove that those children, Meghan and Harry, are not entitled to privacy in this matter. And their privacy is trumped by our right to know that no bastard is going to sit on the throne of this country. All Harry and Meghan need to do is prove to us that she popped those babies out. And that's all they need to do. And if they don't, it is unfair on the children. It's also unfair on the royal family.
Now, that old clip has resurfaced across the internet, not as confirmed evidence, but as a topic of intense discussion. Many people are revisiting the comments, analyzing the details, and debating how they fit into the larger public narrative surrounding Meghan. The renewed attention shows how quickly old moments can return to the spotlight and become part of wider conversations online.
She married for money. It's very clear she bagged the elephant. She was thrilled she became a quote princess.
Well, you can.
It was planned from the beginning. She denied being interested in the royal family, which she totally was. I know someone who knows the ex-husband who said she had a vision board with Prince Harry on it.
Before they met?
Yes, and she wants to
That's
pretend.
impressive. You got to admit that is impressive.
She nailed a bread.
Some observers believe that continued silence can sometimes create more questions rather than provide clarity. In situations involving public figures, a lack of response may lead people to form their own interpretations and continue debating the issue. However, silence can have many explanations, and without direct statements or verified information, conclusions about someone's intentions remain speculative.
rather lofty to suggest the ability to align with issues of womanhood and suffering. On the grounds that, and she did bring up the fact that, she went to immaculate.
After Samantha's comments attracted renewed attention, public interest in the topic increased significantly. Many people began revisiting older interviews, statements, and online discussions in an attempt to understand the situation more clearly. The actress's 2019 comment, which had previously received limited attention, also resurfaced and became part of the wider conversation. However, while some people view these past remarks as significant, they remain statements that have not been independently verified as proof of any particular claim.
She was a caddy for all of my celebrities. I had Joe Montana. Anybody that's here was at my tournament in 2008. She was one of the Jill and Ojo girls that were caddies that I pawned them off as caddies to the highest bidders. She was so loved. I'm laughing because I'm like, good for her. I mean, she met the prince. She made a great life for herself. Good for her. Everything you're not supposed to be. Multi-ethnic, and she's been married. She already has a kid from someone.
As the discussion continues, more people are revisiting past statements, searching through old interviews, and comparing different versions of events. Online communities have been analyzing details, sharing screenshots, and debating what they might mean. While some believe these discussions raise important questions about the public narrative, others caution that online speculation should not be confused with verified facts. The situation shows how quickly public perception can shift in the digital age.
Samantha, that your sister tried to make out that she's some sort of repressed.
Some people have interpreted past comments as possible clues about timelines and events that remain debated in public discussions. However, there is no verified evidence that these remarks were intended to reveal hidden information or that anything was deliberately concealed. As the conversation gained attention again, Samantha's statements added another layer to the ongoing debate. Supporters and critics responded in different ways, with some questioning her motives while others argued that her comments deserved to be considered. The situation highlights how public controversies can quickly become shaped by competing perspectives and interpretations.
She delivered it like an actress delivered it, an opera responded going, wow.
But some people believe this situation feels different because of the way Samantha presented herself publicly. Rather than making emotional statements or seeking immediate attention, she appeared composed and measured in her responses. To some observers, that calm approach suggested careful consideration, while others viewed it simply as her personal communication style. As with many public disputes, interpretations vary, and the true motivations behind someone's actions can only be understood through verified information and direct statements.
Won't have it either. Who says so? Veteran editor of Majesty magazine, Ingrid Seward, who has been closer to...
In public relations battles, silence can sometimes create as much discussion as a direct statement. For years, the relationship between Meghan and Samantha has been a subject of public interest and debate. This time, some observers focused on the way Samantha communicated her views. Not through direct accusations, but through comments that some interpreted as references to past events and unresolved questions. Whether those interpretations are accurate remains debated, but the attention surrounding her remarks shows how powerful suggestion and public perception can become in a media-driven environment.
Sight of a union like that, my parents, and they remained together forever.
In the world of public relations, carefully chosen words can have a powerful impact. When a family member speaks about a public figure's past in a way that leaves room for interpretation, audiences often pay close attention and try to understand the meaning behind those statements. Some observers viewed Samantha's approach as measured and deliberate, while others interpreted it differently. Regardless of the perspective, the comments generated renewed interest and added another layer to the ongoing public discussion.
Markle is the flea in the ointment who continues to ruin the increasingly rancid relationship.
As the conversation grew, some people began to view Samantha differently, moving beyond the idea of a family disagreement and seeing her as someone with personal knowledge of past events. Others remained skeptical and questioned her perspective and motivations. The public reaction shows how quickly narratives can shift when a person connected to a story speaks publicly, especially when details remain open to interpretation.
If this lady, Rachel Meghan Markle, gave birth in 1997, why is she sealing these documents now? We know that she had her marriage documents sealed at the first or second marriage to Trevor Engelson. They got married. People think that she got married in Jamaica. No, she got married in a civil ceremony in California, and she had those documents sealed. The wedding certificate is sealed. She didn't even tell her father, her mother, nobody. They just grab random witnesses because when Ninake Pretty wasn't even there. So why wait so many years to seal these documents on December 2018?
Some people interpreted Samantha's comments as suggesting that she might know more than she had revealed, although she did not provide any specific evidence at the time. The remarks quickly gained attention online, sparking widespread discussion and renewed interest in past interviews and public appearances. People began revisiting old clips, analyzing conversations, and sharing their own interpretations of what the comments might mean. Within a short time, the topic became a major point of debate across social media platforms.
The whole description she does of the Portland hospital, the birth, that was completely fabricated. We all know.
Samantha did not provide specific details about what she was referring to, leaving many questions unanswered. However, the lack of clarity itself fueled further discussion and speculation online. In the digital age, uncertain or incomplete information can often attract significant attention, as people are naturally drawn to unanswered questions and unresolved stories. This can quickly lead to widespread debate, with different audiences forming their own interpretations of events.
I think he has personality profile that perfectly enables someone who is an alleged narcissist.
As the discussion continued, some people began revisiting past statements, interviews, and public records, looking for details they believed raised questions. They pointed to what they viewed as inconsistencies or unclear aspects of the story. However, whether these observations represent genuine contradictions or simply different interpretations remains a matter of debate.
I travelled the world with him and I did really enjoy working with him. But, now I really don't care if I ever see him again because the way he's behaved towards the king and our queen and his brother and his sister-in-law is appalling.
In December 2018, a theory that initially seemed unlikely began gaining attention online. At first, many people dismissed it, but over time, some started revisiting details and pointing to what they believed were unanswered questions or inconsistencies. However, there was still no confirmed evidence, such as official documents or verified records, to support the theory. The discussion remained focused on interpretations, timelines, and perceived gaps rather than proven facts.
Family owes it to the public of each and every country of which the king is monarch to clear up any doubts about anybody in the line of succession. Meghan's conduct is what has triggered all of this. Oh, Archie doing a deep dive between the knees. Archie competing with Tom Daley before he was even given birth to. Archie's unique qualities. And we need to remember that Archie was truly unique because his first word was crocodile. And Archie, of course, was the product of a union that maritally started when they were roasting chicken. And I leave it at that. But what I will go back to say, in terms without giving too much levity to their Harry and Meghan's really crazed behavior.
People have been revisiting old records, public information, and past materials in an attempt to better understand the situation. While no verified proof has emerged, some observers believe they have noticed patterns or details that raise further questions. However, patterns alone do not necessarily confirm a claim, and they can often be interpreted in different ways depending on perspective and available evidence.
In my opinion, this is what it seemed like. Seal off the hatches so nobody can talk. And almost instantly, it seemed as though dirt was being thrown upon us so that if somebody did speak to us, that we...
Some critics argue that certain parts of Meghan's personal history have been discussed in different ways over time, leading some people to question whether they have the complete picture. Others believe these differences are simply the result of changing circumstances and public attention. When claims are challenged or dismissed, audiences often continue looking for more information, which can sometimes create even more discussion and speculation. Ultimately, questions about public figures require reliable evidence rather than assumptions or interpretations.
Sean Johnson finally came out and talked against Meghan Markle, that her friend is now saying that, yeah, they did hook up. And not only that, she did get pregnant.
Online communities have continued examining timelines, interviews, and publicly available information, with people offering different interpretations of events. Some observers who were previously skeptical have started asking new questions, while others remain unconvinced and call for verified evidence. In situations involving public figures, silence or limited responses can often lead to further discussion, with audiences trying to understand the reasons behind them. As speculation grows, narratives often begin to focus on specific individuals and their roles in the story.
My understanding is that there are members of the family who are very aware of the...
As online speculation grew, certain names began receiving increased attention from people trying to piece together the story. One such name became a topic of discussion across forums and social media, with users sharing theories and interpretations about past events. However, many of these claims remain unverified, and there is no confirmed evidence to support the idea that any individual holds a hidden key to the situation. The discussion reflects how quickly online communities can create narratives around unanswered questions.
Something like that. So she wasn't even pregnant. So it's very weird. And Harry it was said to Harry, not to her. I mean, she just came.
The discussion quickly gained momentum online, with message boards, social media posts, and videos spreading various theories and claims. Some users shared images and interpretations, while others created dramatic content around the speculation. The situation became a major online conversation, but as more scrutiny followed, many of the claims failed to gain reliable confirmation, and the theory began to lose credibility.
I don't think she's capable of empathy, remorse, or shame. I don't think she could feel enough to apologize.
When the claims were examined, there was no publicly available evidence to confirm them. No official records, wedding photographs, or verified accounts from people connected to the alleged event were presented. Without reliable documentation or credible sources, the speculation remained unproven and continued to exist primarily through online discussions.
Would not be funding a divorce to any extent. And they, at this point, wouldn't really care what Meghan tried to say.
As more people examined the claim, questions began to emerge about the accuracy of the details being shared online. Some timelines appeared inconsistent, and different versions of the story did not always match. Eventually, even many people who had followed the speculation closely acknowledged that there was not enough reliable evidence to support the theory. The discussion faded not because of personal opinions, but because the available information did not confirm the claims being made.
Meghan was researching the prince online and found out that the prince is now duped, so I can now go ahead and marry him. At that stage, Meghan contacted Joe, told him that, look, if you open your mouth, I'm going to...
But this raises an interesting question. If the claim lacked reliable evidence, why did it attract so much attention and spread so quickly? One reason may be that public figures often become the subject of intense speculation when audiences already have strong opinions about them. Existing perceptions, trust levels, and previous controversies can influence how people interpret new stories, even before facts are fully established.
I'll tell you why. What she told the royal family, what she told Harry, wouldn't have jived, wouldn't have been consistent with the...
Some people found the claim believable because it appeared to fit with their existing views and doubts about Meghan's public image. The timing also became a point of discussion, with some observers questioning whether the story gained attention at a convenient moment. However, there is no verified evidence that the claim was deliberately created as a distraction or that a hidden secret was being protected. These interpretations remain part of public speculation rather than confirmed facts.
She's taking advantage of a very weakened man and getting him to say things that you just shouldn't be saying on television.
Just when many people thought the speculation was fading, the conversation shifted in a new direction. Instead of focusing on unknown individuals, some online discussions began turning toward people connected to Meghan's wider family circle. As new names entered the conversation, interest grew and online communities began examining relationships, timelines, and publicly available information. However, much of the discussion remained based on speculation, with no verified evidence confirming the theories being shared.
Meeting Harry, being with Harry, marrying Harry, has improved your sister's behaviour, or do you think it's made it worse, the whole situation?
This led some people to consider a different possibility. What if the answer was not someone hidden away from the public eye, but rather a person or detail that had been overlooked or misunderstood? The idea sparked further discussion online, with people revisiting old information and looking at familiar events from new perspectives. However, these theories remain speculative unless supported by reliable evidence.
Extremely dominant, and they know how to play the vulnerability card.
The internet quickly became filled with speculation and theories about possible hidden details and unanswered questions. Some discussions suggested ideas involving changed narratives, disputed records, or different interpretations of past events. While these theories attracted significant attention online, there is no verified evidence to confirm such claims. The situation highlights how quickly speculation can spread when people are trying to make sense of incomplete information.
We're paying multi-million-dollar PR firms to tell your story the way you controlled it, the way you wanted it told, while you also disparaged and silenced others.
People began revisiting old videos and images, closely examining details such as appearances, expressions, and body language in an attempt to find answers. Online discussions grew as viewers shared their own interpretations and observations. However, personal impressions and perceived similarities are not the same as verified evidence. In situations like these, emotions and assumptions can sometimes influence how people interpret information.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right, and everything she said has come true.
This situation highlights the power of public perception in the digital age. Sometimes, online discussions are driven not only by documented facts, but also by impressions, emotions, and personal interpretations. However, a feeling that something is unusual does not replace verified evidence. Claims based on appearances or similarities require reliable proof before they can be considered factual. As for public figures choosing not to respond to every rumor or speculation, silence can have many explanations and does not automatically confirm or deny any claim.
Was being thrown upon us so that if somebody did speak to us, that we would have no credibility. So it was an interesting phenomenon, and this vicious cycle of wanting to set the record straight, wondering what was going on with her, wanting to give her the benefit of the doubt, and still all the while feeling like...
Just as public interest in the discussion began to slow down, a new claim brought the topic back into the spotlight. Reports and online posts began circulating about an alleged physical letter connected to Samantha Markle, which quickly attracted attention across social media. People debated the authenticity of the letter, its contents, and what it might mean, with some analyzing details while others remained skeptical. However, without independent verification, the claims surrounding the letter remain unconfirmed, and the timing became another point of discussion among observers.
Was lied to, and my sister, in fact, was the one reportedly who told Ashley she couldn't go to the wedding. So I felt like she was manipulating my daughter, lying to her. And that's really sad because my daughter seemingly was holding a grudge and feeling like I was the reason she couldn't come to the wedding.
Meghan is now trying...
Just as public interest in the story appeared to be fading, the appearance of the alleged letter brought renewed attention to the discussion. Some observers questioned the timing and wondered whether it was simply a coincidence or part of a larger strategy. However, there is no verified evidence confirming that the letter's release was intentionally planned. The situation became another example of how timing and speculation can influence public conversations.
I wrote to the state of California birth records office. I wrote to them and I said, I don't have documentation. All I have is this data. They conducted a search with finding if a Rachel Meghan Markle had given birth in the state of California, if she has any other children. You'll be surprised to see.
The alleged letter surfaced at a time when Meghan was receiving attention for her lifestyle and business ventures, causing public discussion to shift back toward the ongoing speculation. As the conversation gained momentum, Many online users focused more on the renewed controversy than on her latest projects. Samantha did not publicly confirm or deny the authenticity of the alleged letter, and that lack of comment became a topic of discussion in itself. However, without a direct statement or independent verification, no conclusions can be drawn from her silence alone.
What they gave me.
They can't find the child, Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor, but they did tell me that a Miss Rachel Meghan Markle gave birth to a child in 1997. They can't disclose the details because those were sealed. And look at the date these documents were sealed.
The situation continued to fuel public curiosity, with different reactions from the people involved and ongoing discussions online. Some observers interpreted the alleged letter as an important piece of the story, while others questioned its authenticity and significance. As speculation grew, people began asking whether there were missing details, unanswered questions, or simply misunderstandings surrounding the events. However, no verified evidence has confirmed claims about hidden records or concealed information. The debate shows how strongly public perception can shape conversations, especially when a story involves family, fame, and unanswered questions.
With either Archie or Lily, and it needs to happen. They need to prove that those children, Meghan and Harry, are not entitled to privacy in this matter. And their privacy is trumped by our right to know that no bastard is going to sit on the throne of this country.
Many public controversies fade quickly, with attention moving on after a short period of time. However, some stories continue to return to the spotlight because of ongoing public interest and repeated discussions. In Meghan's case, some critics argue that her highly polished public image creates skepticism among certain audiences, who question whether they are seeing an authentic portrayal. Others view her careful approach to public appearances as a normal part of being a public figure. The debate reflects how perceptions of image, authenticity, and trust can shape the way people respond to celebrities and public personalities.
All Harry and Meghan need to do is prove to us that she popped those babies out. And that's all they need to do. And if they don't, it is unfair on the children. It's also unfair on the royal family.
Some observers believe that Samantha's public communication style is careful and deliberate, with limited statements often leading to further discussion. In the age of social media, even a brief comment or a lack of response can generate significant attention and speculation. Media outlets and online platforms often amplify these moments because they attract strong reactions from both supporters and critics. As a result, debates surrounding public figures can continue to grow, with different groups interpreting the same events in very different ways.
Like, why lie? It was just so truly bizarre.
Silence everybody and just produce a DNA sample. If you had those things, it would be very easy just to put them out there and say, this is what happened. This is what it is.
Whether the DNA-related speculation will ever be resolved remains uncertain, and there is no verified evidence confirming that such a mystery exists. However, the continued discussion shows how powerful unanswered questions can become in the public imagination. Even unconfirmed theories can attract attention, fuel debate, and keep a topic alive across social media and online platforms. In the case of public figures, speculation itself can sometimes become a major part of the story.
This case about whether you think the birth was real, whether you think there was a surrogate, whether you think Meghan was wearing a moon bump. The fact is, Harry and Meghan lied. Buckingham Palace lied on their behalf.
So, what is the truth? At this point, many questions remain unanswered, and different people continue to interpret the situation in different ways. Some believe there are still details that have not been fully explained, while others argue that speculation has grown beyond the available evidence. In family disputes involving public figures, silence and limited responses can often create more discussion rather than bringing closure. As the conversation continues, people remain focused on unanswered questions, timelines, and the search for verified information. The discussion around Meghan's public image has continued through books, interviews, and media coverage that have offered different perspectives on her life and experiences. Some publications and commentators have presented critical views, while others have challenged those interpretations. As more information and opinions continue to circulate, audiences remain interested in understanding the events, the reactions behind them, and the broader conversation surrounding public figures and media narratives. For more discussions like this, stay informed, consider different perspectives, and look for verified information as stories continue to develop.